record. That's not Eric Martin's today. It is the Fantasy Golf Pod. We've continued the interview series. We're doing that because it's now May 3rd and we're still sportsless. It's terrible. But we're trying to get better at DFS in this forced off season by hitting the range, talking to people who are content creators. And this afternoon, I have a content creator, a good one, who provides content for a lot of different platforms, daily fantasy sports rankings, Roto Baller, has his own YouTube page, does all the sports. Chris Durell, Jager Bombs on Twitter, Jager Bombs _ whatever. Nobody knows. Wiley screws this up every week too.
It's hard. I'm sorry. I really apologize.
Jager _ Bombs 9. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on Twitter. And now you can find him with a Patreon. You could pay to see his content at patreon.com/JagerBombs. Chris Durell, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Things are going great. It's actually, I used to work for Roto Baller, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, here in a bit. That was one of my main sites. It's actually Roto Pros now. But DFSR was definitely my main one. It's going good, man. It's, sports are coming back slowly but surely. We got some stuff happening. So getting really excited and getting the sheets ready for PGA and NASCAR especially.
So I said there was no sports, but that's a lie. Today there was a NASCAR race. I'm not really into that. You're kind of into that. That's like one of your main sports that you cover. What's going on today in NASCAR?
Yeah, with the whole COVID-19 thing, the NASCAR drivers got together and they did the iRacing. It's called the Pro Invitational. So it's all actual NASCAR drivers. And then they just do an iRace. They all have setups at their home with steering wheels and multiple screens and whatever. And then DraftKings actually introduced that. So that's one of the things I've been doing during this to keep me busy. So it's it takes variance to a whole nother level. Last week, one of the driver's daughters came in and shut off his TV with the remote. So, I mean, that's swaying thousands of dollars for people. It's just some little kid running around having fun. It's hilarious.
Making fun of her dad. Like, I got you, Dad. Okay, but you do also focus on PGA. This is a fantasy golf pod. So, I mean, we do a lot of golf stuff here, mostly DFS. You do that as well. First and foremost, though, before we get into some of that, your name, Jager Bombs 9.
Yeah, well,
we crack beers on this pod, Chris. I'd take a shot of Jager if I had it. I didn't buy any.
I'll pass it over here. Just hold on. Here,
Brilliant.
Off to you. Perfect.
Brilliant. Thank you. No, okay, so what's the deal? You like that, Jager?
Well, back in the day when I first started playing fantasy, me and my buddy were heavy into fantasy football together, and that's pretty much was our regular diet. Breakfast, dinner, and supper was a lot of Jager Bombs. So I was one of those psychos that ran about 25 different Yahoo accounts playing fantasy baseball back in the day. And
I used to have that
played
too.
About 20 to 25 different leagues, but my problem was I'd always try and get funny nicknames. My buddy told me I was horseshit because he didn't know which one I was in what league. So he said, you need one goddamn name. And his was bad mother effer. I won't say it on here. But so I just went with Jager Bombs. That's what I drank a lot. And I don't drink as much of them now, being older, but definitely still enjoy them a lot.
Dude, that reminds me. I had a Yahoo name called 4 More Leagues at yahoo.com.
Yeah, because you only got 4 per account, right?
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
It was awesome.
I've been there, done that. We've been doing this a long time, Chris. What's the deal? When did you get started being Jager Bombs 9, and how did you kind of get going making sheets and things like that? We're doing this. We're asking people. We're trying to get to know the names behind the screen names on Twitter. How'd you start? Yeah,
so Yahoo's really got me started in the fantasy side of things, and that was about, around 2005, 2006. And once the daily fantasy came on the scene, I forget, it's around 2006, I think, or 2007. I really started paying a lot more attention to it because I was more of at the beginning into the season long. I really liked the strategies that went into that, but quickly got into the daily because it gives you that daily fix or whatever. Especially it started with baseball, but golf is where I got into the content side of things. I played, I forget the name of the site, to be honest with you. DraftStreet actually is what it was. Back in the day. Right. Loved DraftStreet. Had a couple $500 to $1,000 wins back in the day on DraftStreet. Tiger Woods was like $28,000 and a $50,000 salary cap back in those days. But that kind of got me into playing more. And then as DraftKings and FanDuel started coming around, I seen this. It was a Twitter ad from DFSR, Daily Fantasy Sports Rankings, and just saying we're looking for a golf writer. Send us a quick write-up on one player type thing. was like, you know what? I had a full-time job and really no time to do this at all. But I was like, okay, I'll do it. I didn't like writing. I sucked at English back in school. So why I'm doing this now is really crazy. But that's how I started. I sent him a little sample, and it quickly got a reply and said, you were the best of the 8 to 10 people that sent us little samples. So we'll start you off once a week.
Okay. Fast forward. How many ever years later, you're doing it now under a paywall. You've taken your sheets from what used to be just tweeted out and kind of given to the public, and you've put it behind the paywall. If you want to find this stuff and get your access to your information, where do we go? What do we pay? What do we get when we pay it?
Yeah, so it's patreon.com/Jager Bombs. Made that one easy, no underscores, no numbers. But I used to give my sheets away for free for years, and I got to the point where I was adding so much to the sheet, it's literally like 16 hours a day, 365 a year of my life. So I thought, I think some of this is people will maybe pay for, or at least my time is worth something. So it took me like a year and a half to really decide to sell the sheets, I guess you could say, or put it behind a paywall. I'm blown away by the response that I got here. It's only been since actually this year, 2020, it was the first month of January where I started that. And it's gone really well. I've added a bunch more stuff because of it. I've actually even hired my daughter to help me with a bunch of data inputs and stuff like that. So it's been awesome from that perspective. And so all my sheets I give away to customers at Roto Pros and Daily Fantasy Sports Wagon just for being a member. And then I have my Patreon now, and that's really my full-time job. So cool. I'm blessed to be in the spot that I'm in now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned your daughter's involved. Okay, that's cool. So what do you tell your daughter you do for a living? You're like, I'm fantasy golf provider guy. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah, and she's really athletic. Like, she plays golf and curling and stuff. So I guess it's been for me, 10 plus years, like right around that 10 years of doing, well, probably 7 doing content full time, and explaining it to family even still to this day. They don't understand. Like, they hear fantasy and they just think it's like I'm on a TV show or doing drama club or something like that. So they don't really, a lot of them don't understand it. She tries to explain to her teachers and friends, and they're all just like, what do you do? And so she absolutely loves it, being a sports lover herself. And I have 2 daughters, and both of them actually really love sports and NASCAR, which I couldn't have asked for more, not having any boys or anything. So,
okay, so you kind of, Chris, you rolled past that pretty quick there when you're like, yeah, she's an athlete. She does a lot of curling, doing some curling. Where are you quarantined at the moment? You got the Canada leaf on your hat. I'm assuming you're up in Canada with the curling. Hey, we got some curlers here in Minnesota.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm in southern Saskatchewan, like probably about 45 minutes an hour south of Moose Jaw, in a town of 2,500 people. And I actually grew up in a town smaller than that, about 500 people back in the day. So, but yeah, we do a lot of curling. That's one of the big sports around here. It's a farming community. So curling's probably number one with hockey. Golf's really picking up. Like our golf course, I believe we got to go ahead to go golf in about 2 weeks, actually 14 days. So 2 weeks from today, our golf course can open. So we're getting pretty excited up here. And I consider myself a part of Minneapolis, I guess you could say a bit. I'm a huge Vikings fan, for one.
I saw, that's why I wore this, because I saw in one of your videos on YouTube, you've got the logo, or whatever. There you go.
Got that, the Packers game. That was the game that Peterson almost broke the record. I was at that game. So I seen both stadiums, which is awesome. And we drove there both times. It was absolutely awesome. About 15 hours of driving for us, and been there twice. So it's been unbelievable.
That's funny. It takes me 15 minutes.
So jealous.
Anyway. Okay. We're trying to get to know people. Do you have like how you got into fantasy sports when you were a kid? Was it your dad, or how'd you do it? How'd you get into fantasy?
I played sports growing up. Our farm was about, half an hour, 20-minute, half an hour drive from town. So I didn't really get a lot of access to golf when I was younger. I actually started out as a right-hander because my cousin was the only one that had clubs that I golfed with. And then I quickly learned that I was left-handed and switched that up when I was a kid. But I didn't really watch, or, I shouldn't say watch. I watched a lot of hockey with my dad growing up. But like golf, I really started watching Tiger Woods was it. Like for a lot of people, Tiger Woods really brought me to that. But as for fantasy sports, early on, like when I was in high school, I didn't really play at all, and I graduated in 2000. I just released my age. That was really bad of me, but oh well. Fantasy sports were really after that. It was more of I really like gambling on things, almost anything. So the fantasy sports and daily fantasy sports really hit home with me and made it really easy to like.
Okay. So we're almost the same age. I was born in 85 and 2003 is when I graduated. But so like, it was
Wrong
right
side
when
of 30.
I mean, that's like we had the internet, but we didn't have everything, and
No,
nothing
we
was
didn't.
as good as they have it now. You've gone. We basically played since the beginning of this daily fantasy stuff. Do you have a sport that you're the best at, or do you have a sport that you just make the most money at, or is it your favorite too? I mean, what's your favorite DFS sport?
My favorite DFS sport is PGA.
Okay.
I love the days and days and days of research and putting the sheet together for myself. All that goes into it, and then the lineup construction and helping people out for the last couple of days leading up to lock. And then as soon as that tournament starts, I'm boom right back onto the next week and doing research and making notes and stuff. It's a revolving. It's one sport that really never stops for me. So I would say it's my favorite to play. As for most successful, I'd say football. I used to play a lot of GPP back in the day when I wasn't so busy with content with 3 different sites and 7 different sports. And football was kind of my best. Never really any big wins, but $1,000 to $2,000 a couple times, smaller GPPs. But now I mostly play cash games just mainly because of time. I only make one lineup per night in almost every sport. Golf, that's nice. That's the one thing I love about golf as well, is you have more time. It's not every night there's another slate. Don't really, like for hockey, I don't have time to build enough lineups with all the content that I do. So golf and NASCAR are really my GPP sports, I guess you could say. I do play a lot of golf cash games, but it's the one sport where I actually have time to build, get in the 20 max or at least into the 3 max stuff. So definitely PGA is the top of my list.
Okay. You mentioned you're basically playing all the sports that they offer. Does that make your weekly process? Well, it's your full-time job. I mean, it's basically like, so you wake up and you just do this all the time basically, or what's your weekly process like?
Yeah. So you'd think being a guy that does all these spreadsheets that I'd have, everything planned out on a nice little calendar on my desktop or laptop or whatever. Nope, not at all. I use notebooks. My writing is terrible. I can barely read my own writing. Why I still do it that way, I don't know. But I'm planning days ahead in my book of what I'm going to do. And what I've learned over the years, being a content provider especially, is to concentrate on one sport at a time. So I'll take Monday, for instance, for PGA. I usually have my sheet set up on Sunday with like course history. I'll have that updated and stuff. But when salaries, odds, and all that come out, literally Monday morning until like Monday afternoon, I try and slot in like 4 to 6 hours of PGA prep, whether it be for my articles, all the sheets, the videos, get everything going. And then I'll jump to like normally, like there'll be hockey on that night or NBA or MLB. I'll jump over to those sports and update them. But very first thing in the morning, before I even dive into one sport, I update all the sheets. So I'll update hockey, then NBA, then MLB, then PGA. So it can get crazy, usually up early in the morning. But over time, I've learned some tricks with the sheets and stuff. I'm still probably miles behind most people, but tricks that help it update a lot faster. So
the sheets are live, basically. They're, as you log in, it's whatever has happened, it's gone onto your sheets. Basically, you're updating as it happens. Well, that's crazy. That's nice.
So it's good for like doing this Outlaw Tour stuff now, or even PGA Tour Showdown. Showdown's been big for me, updating the sheets. That was something I started this year, doing all 4 rounds of PGA was the showdowns, and then taking the stats from each round and implementing that into the sheet for people, and obviously using that data for the next day and stuff like that has been big. So it's really a never-ending process every day of the week.
You are spending quite a bit of time on this. So then are you spending quite a bit of money as well? I mean, I don't. I only play for $20, which I find kind of annoying because I spend all this time on it and then I only play for $20. So I used to only play for $5, but now I've switched to 20. I'm kind of trying to find my balance. What's your weekly like bankroll like? And I mean, are you having different bankrolls per sport too?
Yeah, I try and limit how much I buy in for each sport. Like, obviously, I'll up it a few percent here and there if things are going good. Like if my cash games are running hot in NHL, like hitting 70% over a 2-week period or something like that, I'll start going from like the $5 double ups into the 10 or into the 25s and into the 50s as things go. Not get crazy and double my buy-ins or by any means, but like small percentages as your bankroll grows, obviously. That's kind of what one of the things I try and teach is the bankroll management. But it's really hard, I find, to keep a bankroll for each individual sport and track it accordingly. I do, but I don't know. It's very confusing because I do so many sports. I get off the rails every once in a while and have to like do a reset. Like stop here, clear my head, take 6 hours off or whatever, go out to the golf course, come back, and then just like start over with everything. And I always go back to a sheet. I'll put every sport in, go back and load everything, see what's been working, what hasn't, and then make notes and then make adjustments.
So you're a spreadsheet guy. So then are you a statistic guy too? Do you rely on statistics for all the sports? Or are you more of a gut and a like what you see is what you do?
I'm more of a statistical analytics person. I mean, that's helped me a little bit with like this League of Legends over this pandemic time. I started doing that just because there was nothing at the very start of this whole thing. There was literally nothing on DraftKings but Mexican soccer and League of Legends. So I put the statistical into it, not knowing any of the player names or how the game worked or anything. So yeah, I would definitely say statistics for me. I'll make a golf model. I'll adjust it a little bit as I start reading more information about the course or look at flyovers, past conditions, and start running correlations and stuff like that to see what strokes gain stats favor players. But I also understand that it's golf and there's a lot of variance and things can change. And that's why I like it more from a GPP. Like I like to build lineups. I'll take a core 4 players and I'll build that lineup out 10 times, sometimes 20 if I'm really confident in it, and just try and switch in the other guys so that when my core 4 goes off, I have a really good chance of taking down that GPP because I've got that core 4 10 times, 20 times, rather than when I first started, I'd make a lineup and make 10 lineups that were like, there's like no correlation between them. And it was like, you're going to break even or you're going to lose money.
Yeah. Right. And so you're doing League of Legends. Is that no? What if we buy in? We want these spreadsheets. We're going to Patreon. I'm going to do it right after I get done watching this. What am I looking at when I look at your spreadsheet? What's on there? What's so great about your spreadsheets, Chris?
Yeah. So really, the reason I started with any spreadsheet was when I built my golf lineups. This is where it started back to golf again, and I used Excel to start. Is I had like 17 tabs open of all the different stats and course history and all the different sites looking at different stuff. And I was like, I want this all in one place so I can make lineups quicker each week. And then that blended over into all the other sports. So for League of Legends, I really tried to put the analytical into it. So, team versus team matchup and their team stats. And there's stats like kills and assists. And so I really just looked at DraftKings to see what counted and then put that data into the spreadsheet and then actually kind of built a model around it just to say, okay, these players are ones that stand out just from the statistical view. So that's where I started, and that really helped a lot of people that maybe understood the game. I did not understand the game at all. It still was, I don't know, I was lost. So I watched some Twitch videos of it, and then after doing that, I actually started playing the game. I downloaded it on my laptop just to get a different view, just to get a perspective of what the hell is happening.
Right. Is it a fun game? Is it fun?
It's addicting. I thought I was doing all right until I started leveling up a little bit and started playing people that actually knew what they were doing and got destroyed. So I haven't really played in a while, but
Okay. Funny.
It's different because I was always a video game guy, but I only played sports. Like I played the Tiger Woods game, Madden, and like NHL. That's okay. Literally my video, and Call of Duty. That's literally my video game since I grew up.
You have humans in your home with you during this quarantine. How old are your daughters? Are they old or are they young?
16 and 6.
Oh, okay. So you got a different variety because I got 2 young kids and my life's miserable. That's why I'm like looking forward to the miserable to a point. But anyway, so what are you gonna do then? We're almost back to PGA. It's coming up. We got like 5 weeks left or something. Are you getting ready for that? What's going on with you? Are you doing anything fun in quarantine?
As for fun, no. Because it's literally been winter this whole time almost. It started to get nice out. So me and my daughter actually built I guess you call it our own little driving range in the backyard. Nice. I had an old net I used to have virtual golf set up years ago. have a business. So I had all that netting. I'm like, geez, if I got 2 posts, I could have my own driving range in the backyard. So we did that. That was a little fun. And other than that, it's just been getting sheets ready. Like I've been putting together some putting splits on different green types for PGA when it comes back. I think we're back when? July 11th to
June.
14th?
June 11th, yeah. Dude.
Yeah, there we go.
Of course, Chris, going back to his sheets. No, let's stay on our fun topic here. Have you been watching we were born around the same time. Jordan was literally my childhood. It was the reason.
Yep.
I've gotten chills every time I've watched these things. Are you watching this Jordan for 30 for 30?
I've missed the last couple, but I watched the first ones, and it was awesome. So it's definitely on my list for Sunday night viewing, that's for sure.
And then Tiger King, too. Are you into that? Have you seen that?
We weren't going to watch it, and then we actually gave in last week. Me and my oldest daughter and my wife started watching it, and we didn't want to continue, but we're like, well, we started this. We got to finish it off. So we ended up watching the whole thing, and yeah, it was about as mind-blowing as I thought it would be.
It's
like
really
real.
So you mentioned that you're smacking balls in your backyard. Your courses are about to open up. You're a golfer. You like playing golf. Are you ever going to go down to that DFS Open? Joe Idun, he's got that thing down in Florida.
I would love to. It's a lot of travel for me. I really wanted to. Last one, I seen some, the videos and stuff like that. It looks so fun. Were you there for that?
No,
did you go down?
I had the newborn.
Oh, right. Babies,
so my wife said, no, you're not flying to Florida. And I got it was like 6 weeks old at the time.
So you're in for the next one for sure then.
Oh, yeah. I think I might even bring the whole family. Me and Eric are going to bring our family down there. So
I think it would be fun.
So you got your Patreon, and then all of a sudden it's sportsless. So that's kind of annoying and frustrating.
Yeah.
Once things get back going again, definitely hit him. Jager_Bombs 9 on Twitter. He does tweet out a lot of stuff, and I really appreciate you. Actually, he's one of the guys that's tweeted me before anybody else did. And
love your pod.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I love your content. So keep doing what you do. Find him on YouTube. Find him on Twitter. Find him on Patreon. Give him some money. Try it out. These sheets are helpful. Okay? Guy's got a couple of people to feed at home. So feed him with some money.
Kids, hungry growing kid.
Yeah, my God, my 3-year-old, he's like an insane person. But anyway, you're the man. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers. All right. Good luck, everyone, and everything you do. See you around.
Wait, before we get you out of here, who's going to win this NASCAR race today, or is it over?
It's over. William Byron won again.
Did you pick him? You picked him, right? He was on your sheet?
I did, yeah.
Of course. All right, take it easy, dude.
See you later.